mighty companions, fellow miracle workers. How are you this week? I hope you're doing okay. It's been a weird week, weird energy, very emotional. We had that full moon in Pisces, and now in September, we are in gate 6 of human design, which is the gate of friction, volatility, emotional reactions. And it's important to remember that we're here to be peacemakers. We're here to keep the peace. We're here to see the peace in every situation. Of course, Miracle says, I could see peace instead of this, but I know it's very hard to do when you're not centered, when you're not grounded, when you're not focused on what's going on inside, but focused on what's going on outside. So it's always important to remember not to react to all the craziness that's out there in the illusory world, but to turn your focus inward and notice how you're feeling, notice how the body feels, notice what kind of thoughts are going on, because that is the focal point and that is the point of power, the assemblage point. Everything is a projection from the mind. This is where our power lies, in the mind. And that is what needs to be aligned so that we can have a more pleasant experience out in the world. I know this has been a really, really hard year for everybody. The collective consciousness is leveling up big time, and it has required a lot of transitions, a lot of sorting out of things, institutions falling apart. We had the pandemic. Now we've had the Great Resignation. There's a lot of things that are changing and shifting and transforming, but it's not all bad. It has to happen. Things have to sometimes be destroyed before the phoenix can rise up out of the ashes. So I really want you to be gentle with yourself, to be kind to yourself. On Monday, Carly came on and talked about being your own best friend, how important it is to have kind self-talk when you talk to yourself, to look at what's going on in there and make sure that it's forgiving, make sure that it's gentle and kind. We all have to be our own best friends because we can't rely on what's out there in the world. We simply can't. That's not dependable. This is dependable. Our source is dependable, and that's where we want to put our trust. So, what about the feeding frenzy, the title of my talk this week? I wanted to do my weekly Wednesday wisdom video about what you're feeding yourself, not only with your food, with your diet, with nutrition, which is also very important. And many of us are very careful about what we put into our mouths and what we put into our bodies. But are you as equally careful about what you allow into your mind? Do you even ever think about that? Because your subconscious is like a sponge. It just absorbs everything. Your subconscious does not know the difference between truth and fiction, between reality and illusion. Your subconscious just takes it all in and believes all of it. You can see this with infants. You can tell them anything. They'll just believe it. Children at face value. There's no discernment there. So it's very important to be judicious, to be careful with what you're letting in. And I noticed something interesting this week linguistically. Often the language reflects truths that we don't pick up on, subtle truths. But I was thinking about social media and how we call all the information that is shown to us on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on whatever social media platform you utilize, TikTok. We call that the feed. All of the videos, all of the posts, all of the things that show up in our feed are being fed to us, and we are taking that in. We are absorbing it, and we are allowing it into our mental space and giving it rent, free rent in our mental space. And that is not a good practice, because if there's no discernment about what you allow in, it makes the job of the mind much harder to sort out the false from the true, to sort out the valuable from the invaluable, to sort out the good from the bad. We think we can judge what's good and bad, but we really don't know. We really don't know. So the way to discern what we want to allow in and what we want to block out is how it makes you feel. If you're reading something on your feed that is stressing you out, that is upsetting you, that is taking you away from your peace, there's no value in that. You're simply inviting conflict into your life. And that uses a tremendous amount of energy, and it's a huge distraction from what really matters in life. So it's important to be selective about where we spend our attention and what we put our focus on. They used to say that time was money, that time was the most important resource. But I'm here to tell you that's no longer true. In this digital age, attention is the most valuable resource. And you only can put your attention on one thing at a time. You may jump around from thing to thing to thing, but you can only focus on one thing at a time. So where are you placing your attention? Are you placing your attention on things that are uplifting, that are inspiring, that are helpful and nurturing to you? Or are you placing your attention on crazy political news, on upsetting things in the world, on catastrophes and crises? And how is that benefiting you? It's not benefiting you at all. It's bringing your vibration down. And when your vibration comes down, you have less power to do things in your life and for others. You cannot be of service to the world and of service to others when you are operating from this low vibrational place. So our mission, our job, is to maintain our feed so that we are feeding ourselves positive thoughts, true thoughts, raise our vibration, and thereby uplift the vibration of humanity. It's all connected. So I conducted an experiment with my feed a few years ago when I noticed on Facebook that a lot of the posts that I was reading were negative. And I had a lot of friends and coworkers and colleagues on Facebook who made it a habit of complaining about things. They would get on there and they would say, I don't like this, or so-and-so treated me bad, or can you believe this situation? And it was always something negative. And when I realized that I was allowing my energy to be sucked into this negative vortex, this suck hole, I decided to make a change. Now, I didn't want to just block all of my friends and family and colleagues. I still wanted to stay in touch with them. I still wanted to know what was going on in their lives and keep up with their children and, their travels and so on. However, I did not want that to be the vast majority of my social media consumption. So here's what I did. I had gone to a retreat. The first time I ever actually invested in myself to go to a kind of a spiritual retreat. It was a group sponsored by the Teachers of God Foundation and Lisa Natoli in Maine. And I met new people there, and I invited all of those people to be my friend on Facebook. And then I started inviting other people from that organization that I had not personally met, but they were friends of my friends. And gradually, I began to expand my social network to people who were more interested in the kinds of things that I was interested in, who were interested in spirituality and transformation, in law of attraction, in miracles, in leveling up, in helping humanity from a spiritual and metaphysical perspective. And then I started inviting people to be my friends on Facebook. If we had so many mutual friends, and that number changed from time to time, but initially it was a lot. If we had 100 mutual friends, I might send a friend request to a stranger. or 200 mutual friends or whatever it was, because I knew those people would be interested in the kinds of things that I was interested in. This is what happened. My feed completely changed. Occasionally, somebody's whiny, complainy, negative post would pop up, but 98, 99% of the time, what I was reading was thought-provoking, positive, uplifting, inspiring, educational, valuable content. I also stopped watching the news. I made a conscious decision to stop watching the news about 4 years ago, and I don't feel any less informed than when I used to watch the news, because people are going to tell you stuff. It still shows up on Facebook. My husband tells me whatever. I hear it one way or another. So the shift has been from this egoic idea that being informed and knowing a lot about what's going on in the world and what's going on in the lives of other people was valuable in some way. It's not valuable unless, as an ego, you feel that you need some sort of an edge, and that comes from a place of competition. When you know and you trust that you are always divinely supported, that you don't need to compete with anybody because we're all unique and perfect specimens, we're all children of God, we're all equally loved, we're all equally cherished, even if it doesn't feel like it sometimes. When you know that that's the truth, you no longer need to compete with anybody. You can collaborate. And when you're coming from a place of collaboration, you don't need an edge. Everyone is equal. No one has an edge over anyone else. Yes, we have different gifts, we have different talents. However, we don't need to get the scoop anymore on anything or anyone. We can stay in our peace and do our own thing. So my question is, are you nourishing your body with good food, and are you nourishing your mind with valuable content? Where are you spending your time and your attention? What is your focus on? And is it valuable to you? Is it making your life better? Is it making you happier? Is it giving you something that you didn't have before that is helpful to you and to others? That's the acid test about what you should be feeding yourself. So that's the feeding frenzy. It's important to nourish yourself. It's important to nurture yourself. It's important to be kind and forgiving to yourself. And this is one way that you can do it. You know, A Course in Miracles says that I have a kingdom I must rule, and that kingdom is in here. That's where the kingdom lies. It's in here. Are you in control of what's going on in there? Are you in control of who comes across the moat and into your kingdom? Because that will make all the difference in your life, my friends, of whether you're having a stressful life filled with conflict, filled with drama, or whether you're having a peaceful life and a peaceful existence here in this 3D world. So we're going into gate 6 now in human design. I don't know if you all are familiar with human design. It's a very interesting topic, and one that I don't know a whole lot about, but I do know that gate 6 in September has to do with conflict and volatility and reactivity, and whether we are sucked into that or whether we are able to watch that from afar, observe it, and use it as a gateway to peaceful change makes all the difference. I encourage you to do that, not only to be kind and forgiving to others, but it always starts with us. We have to be kind and forgiving to ourselves, have kind and gentle thoughts, feed ourselves with kind and gentle information, and that will make it easier to be kind and gentle to others. What goes around comes around, right? So that's my message for this week. I encourage you to go watch Carly's message. If you didn't, she gave a very interesting demonstration about staying in peace, staying in joy, and finding your peace and joy in life. And also check out her book. It's amazing. It's called Spirited, and it's available on her website, It's an ebook, carlyjuddhardy.com. I hope you have a wonderful week. I'm Teresa McGallagher, and I love you.